Make some extra cash this holiday season driving with Lyft, the rideshare app that treats you better. You can earn hundreds of dollars a week, plus tips. At Lyft, drivers always come first. We've got your back with 24/7 support. And to make sure you start things off right, you can earn $2,500 guaranteed for your first 200 rides. Apply at lyft.com/earn more. That's lyft.com/earn more. Terms apply.
The Sports Betting Podcast for Tuesday, March the 3rd, from Joe Duffy's Picks at OffshoreInsiders.com, another $1 million march on Las Vegas. It is a very sweet night at OffshoreInsiders.com. Joe Duffy's Picks is at all three NBA bets the last 2 days. We now have college basketball winners, 4 of them, plus an NBA winner, a wise guy play. It's all right now. OffshoreInsiders.com. Joe Duffy's Picks, 5-0 sweep for Tuesday. www.offshoreinsiders.com. The Lakers and Charlotte. Kemba Walker remains out for Charlotte. They've gone under 10-3 without him. They're 8-5 minus him, though 2-4 the last 6. By the way, all records are against the spread unless we specify over-unders. Lakers are 17-2 on the road when they have a non-conference revenge game next. Charlotte, the second worst offensive efficiency in the last 15 games at 95.2 points per 100 possessions. Boston and Cleveland. Boston, Jared Sullinger remains out. They're 4-2 without him, going over 4 the last 5. Kyrie Irving is probable for Cleveland. They're 1-3 with him out of the lineup, going under 3-1. He a key player to say the least, 21.7 points per game, 5.2 assists in 56 games. Cavs have the best net rating in the last 15 games at plus 8.6. Net rating is offensive compared to defensive points per 100 possessions. Houston and Atlanta. Houston without James Harden with a suspension, also without Dwight Howard. Harden is the top shooting guard in the NBA according to the Hollinger efficiency metrics and the 6th best overall player in the NBA. Here's what Houston's going to be missing. In 59 games this year, he is averaging 27.1 points per game, 5.8 boards, 6.9 rebounds. Houston's going under 5 of the last 7 without him, covering 4 of 5. The Hawks, Jeff Teague is probable. He is the 5th most effective point guard in the NBA. Atlanta 16-1 off of a road win. They've gone under the Hawks have at a 14-1 rate at home versus a team that committed an average of more than 7 refereed turnovers per game. Utah and Memphis teams are only 56-122-1, 31.5% going back to January 2nd of 2009 as an underdog, with 2 or more days rest after a game in which they had more turnovers than assists. Now that angle says to fade the Utah Jazz, or in other words, go with Memphis. Memphis, the best defensive efficiency in the last 15 games, allowing just 96 points per 100 possessions. Jazz, though, the best net rating in the last 5 games in the entire NBA at plus 12.2. Washington and Chicago. Paul Gasol will play for Chicago, but Jimmy Butler's out. They're going over 4-0-1 without Butler. Butler is the 2nd most efficient shooting guard in the NBA, 20.2 points per game in 55 games, 5.9 rebounds, 3.3 assists. Bulls are 4-10 without Derrick Rose. Teams are 62, 116-5, just 34.8% since February 18th, 2000, as an underdog with 2 or more days rest after a win when they are off of a game in which they scored at least 10 points more in the first quarter than they did in the fourth quarter. Now, this says to fade Chicago. Chicago is, or that angle, I should say, is also 2-13 the last 15, so fade Chicago according to that angle. Now, teams have gone over 71, 25-3 for 74%, going back to February 20th of 2013 as a favorite after a game in which they had at least 10 shots blocked. That would say the Bulls game. That applies to the Bulls and says the Bulls will go over the total. Sacramento and New York. Sacramento, DeMarcus Cousins is questionable to doubtful. Latest report says he's probably not going to play. They're 3-10 without him. 23.7 points per game in 43 games. 12.2 rebounds. 1.7 blocks. 3.3 assists per game. Remember, they're also without Darren Collison, though over 5 of the last 6 that he's missed. Knicks without Melo Anthony, 4-7-1 minus him. Kings over 10-0 as favorites off consecutive home losses. The Knicks have gone over 11-0 as a home underdog with at least 1 day of rest after playing at home after a win, which they made fewer baskets than their opponent. The Kings' worst net rating in the last 15 games at minus 11.5. Knicks the third worst at minus 7.2. And they have the worst defensive efficiency, allowing 107.6 points per 100 possessions. Well, based on all that, folks, with the injuries, we're going to go with Washington. Again, Washington Wizards will be our free play. Please give us a positive rating if you listen to us on iTunes or Stitcher. Like us if you're listening to us on YouTube. Retweet us, etc. Any help you can get to give us exposure. Look, we'll just give you more and more free information, even during baseball, which is a low revenue to relatively speaking, low revenue time. We'll give you the free information as long as you guys want it. And the best way you can do is go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating on our podcasts.
Make some extra cash this holiday season driving with Lyft, the rideshare app that treats you better. You can earn hundreds of dollars a week, plus tips. At Lyft, drivers always come first. We've got your back with 24/7 support. And to make sure you start things off right, you can earn $2,500 guaranteed for your first 200 rides. Apply at Lyft.com/earn more. That's Lyft.com/earn more. Terms apply.